phone. I am sorry.
Oh no! Please don't be sorry. This has really been kind of a learning experience for Tango and I to do this, and we've had a couple of our guests have a little bit of trouble signing in. So, and it's really kind of new to me, so we can just chalk it up to just being a learning experience for all of us.
Right.
But I'm really glad you stayed with us. I was really sad that you were going to leave us.
Oh no, I wasn't going to leave you. I just was worried that I was doing something wrong.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, a couple of the other platforms that I've used are Riverside, and also Zoom. I've used Zoom.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad that you're here. Let me just give you a quick intro so that our listeners know who we're talking to today.
Since we're live, are we under a time constraint?
No, not really.
Okay.
No. So Chip Scholz is an executive coach and author. After a stroke forced him to slow down and rethink his direction, Chip rebuilt his life and career one small decision at a time. He now works with leaders navigating change, helping them cut through complexity and focus on what actually shapes behavior and results. His book, Small Decisions, Big Shifts, grew out of that work and out of a simple idea. Real change rarely comes from big moments, but from the choices we make every day. Thank you for being with us, Chip. I really appreciate you staying.
Oh, thanks, Angela. I really appreciate you being here, and I appreciate us figuring out. I'm really glad it worked.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing.
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to this conversation because it sounds like you run a great show, and so I'm looking forward to it. I'm just a guy, and I've been an executive coach for the last 27 years. Had a lot of life experiences, and married, 3 kids, and 3 dogs and 2 cats and all that kind of stuff. Even got a goldfish.
You got it all.
Yeah.
I had some. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of scrolling through here because I did have a couple questions for you.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, listen, I talk about the stroke a lot because it was a kind of a seminal moment in my life. It was 14 years ago, and changed the way I did a lot of things. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to do coming out of the stroke was to do everything better. And about a year after the stroke, my wife bought me a lathe for Christmas, and that also changed a lot of things. And I thought I was getting my cognition back after the stroke, but it wasn't really to the level that I wanted to be. And so, it was, I got the lathe, and all of a sudden I started wood turning. And, I don't know if you're familiar with lathes or wood turning, but, when you've got a 30-pound, chunk of wood that's spinning at about 1,000 RPMs, that likes to take your head off, you've got to pay attention. And that opened up all kinds of neural networks. But, so I really enjoy that. I enjoy the coaching part and, also the writing part.
So was there one thing, though, specifically that just made you, I understand what you're saying. You said that the stroke was something that kind of changed your way of thinking and doing things, but was there something like in the back of your mind before any of this that is saying this is what you were going to do? You were going to become like a coach, an author. Like, was the book a thought? Was the coaching a thought? Any of it before your stroke?
Well, we have a long life, don't we? And we've got a lot of living that we do in there. So, I mean, if I go way back, and start off, I started a career in sales. That led to lobbying. We were in LA at the time, and I was lobbying for a trash company. And so I spent a lot of time with elected officials, which can be an interesting trip, especially in California. And then I got laid off. And May of '98, I got laid off, and my boss called me and said, "Listen, you're getting the package." And I said, "Great." I said, "So what's going to happen to you?" And he said, "Well, I'm getting the package too." And so the company laid off a bunch of people at the same time. And little did we know that the company was selling. So that gave me an opportunity to start my own gig. And my wife and I decided to move from Los Angeles to North Carolina, start over. And I started a business. My wife started a business, and we both were living the dream, I guess. The first 5 years were pretty tough, but I was just trying to find my way, and I hadn't really heard of coaching at that point, although I picked that up a little bit later on. And so, are you getting an echo there?
Hey, Chip and Angela, this is Dango signing in from on the road on my way in. I do apologize. The echoing was my fault. I was trying to listen to the show, and when I heard you guys saying that you could hear the echo, I was like, oh, dang it. So I swiped the app away, and then I was nervous that I'd canceled the show. So I'm glad I did not do that. And Chip, I really appreciate you hanging in there and being a part of the show tonight. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Angela, are you getting an echo?
Just a little bit. Is it stopping or
it's gone now? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was already coaching before the stroke, and I was working my butt off. I was just I was spending way too much time on the road, and I had the stroke, and I wasn't paying attention to my health, and so coming out of the stroke, it was the decision to do everything better. But I was already on my way with coaching before, and the thing that I talk about in the book, the 5 C's, I had that concept before, but I hadn't really put it to work. And now, after the stroke, I didn't have a choice, really. I had to get better. And so, I put the 5 C's to action and started getting better.
That's great. So that was kind of like, it was a terrible situation, but it was something that moved you in a positive direction because you were forced to be moved in a positive direction.
That's right. Percent of people that have heart events or some kind of a heart situation, heart attack, or maybe even a brain attack like I had, don't do anything about it. Don't change the way they're living. And so after the stroke, I lost 110 pounds. I got everything under control, the diabetes and blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. I started sleeping right. I started eating right. I started doing all those things. And so if you think about it, only 10% of people actually change what they're doing. Well, I would be a heck of a coach if I didn't change what I was doing. I could tell everybody what to do, but if I wasn't doing it myself, what kind of coach would I be?
Right. We're just kind of like going in and out a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I was done.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your 5 C's.
Okay. So the 5 C's, and I've heard a lot of, different 5 Ds and 5 Ps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My 5 C's are context, clarity, conditioning, choice, and character. So context is understanding what's going on with your life. Context is understanding who you are, where you're standing, just what your current situation is. And I think it's really important because you don't know where you're going unless you know where you start. And unless you're brutally honest with yourself about your current situation, you really don't have a chance of improving. I mean, it's just, if you read a book and it says, set a goal. Well, okay, so I set a goal, now what? Whereas if you think more in terms of what's going on with you, with your context, that'll give you a good starting place. Clarity is being certain in no uncertain terms what you want. And that's a problem for a lot of people. They have a really difficult time saying what they want. I mean, most people can tell you what they don't want, but when it comes around, maybe it's FOMO. Maybe it's just that they were told they were never allowed to want something or something like that. But it's really difficult for somebody to say, I want this. And I think it's so important in terms of what you do next to figure out what you want. Conditioning is getting your mind right. It's changing your mind. And there's a lot of literature out there about changing your mind, all the way from Mindset by Carol Dweck. And a lot of people have written books about changing your mindset. And if you want to change what you do, you got to change what you think. So that's conditioning. Choice is taking the time to plan your behaviors out.
Hey, everybody, this is Tango chiming back in again after the show. I just want to remind everybody that this Saturday, the 14th at 10 a.m., we will be in the Utica, New York, St. Patrick's Day Parade. And we hope to see some of you there. We're going to attempt to do our first remote live show. We will be broadcasting from the parade as we travel down Genesee Street, and we're hoping to see some of our fans there, and we'll be handing out a couple of goodies along the way too. So we hope to see you there, and back to the show.
So we talked about goals before. I don't call them goals. I call them waypoints. And in Choice, I talk about a waypoint document. And a waypoint is basically a goal statement or a statement of intention. And the thing that I've seen from a lot of people is we're pretty good goal setters, but we're really poor goal planners. So a waypoint document is a way of planning out a goal. It's taking the steps through. It's thinking about time, treasure, talent, manpower, machinery, providence, and stupidity, and figuring out how I get what I've said I really want. And then character is putting it all together. It's walking the talk. It's making sure that that you're doing what you can to be personally accountable. And I think that's what a lot of people forget about these days, that you really have to be personally accountable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I can see, just by everything that you're talking about, with going back to you telling us about using your lathe. Just before we even get to that, I just have to tell you that's something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. And Tango has a lathe, and he's told me that we're going to be able to make some bowls. So I'm super excited about it. But I really think with the lathe, you have to be extremely focused. So do you find your lathe time the time that you're reflecting kind of on everything that you're doing, like all of your C's? Like, is that your reflection time during that point, or do you have another time that you're doing that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's my happy place, right?
Yeah.
It's where it's where I do my best thinking. And I put on some great tunes in the background. There's a Sirius channel called Life with John Mayer, and I just play it in the background. It's great music. It's music from today all the way through the 70s and just everything in between. And I get lost. And you're in the act of creation. and that is so cool to be in that space. But then, it allows that the neural networks to fire on all cylinders. And so you do start thinking about, hey, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? How am I going to apply this? How am I going to apply that? And it's incredible, Zen. And listen, wood is one of the most natural substances on earth. I mean, everywhere you go, there's trees just about. And so, wow, our minds relax so much around round stuff. And I don't know if you ever noticed that, but, don't people love to take walks even around the block?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and why do you think that is? Oh yeah, it's fresh air, but it's also, there are no no square corners in nature. Think about that. There may be things that are a little bit off, maybe a straight tree trunk or that kind of thing, but there are no round corners or square corners in nature. Yet in our built environments, there are so many square corners. And that's what I like about the lathe is you're not having to worry about making exact cuts. You're not having to worry about, measuring things out. You're creating something that's round, because by its very nature, the lathe creates round things. So it's extremely relaxing. I hope you get to do that one of these days.
Yeah, I really do too. And I think, just bringing up the point of having that, happy place, that really says something right there. When you're in a happy space, you're actually going to have, creative thoughts. You're going to have happy thoughts in general. So I feel like your colors, your pictures, whatever it is, become more clear, when you're in that space. And just to, go to what you were saying about the circle, or the round, sometimes like for me, exactly what you're saying, like if you walk around the block, it's like a sense of you completed something, it was like full circle. You actually did it, you went around the block or around whatever,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've been wood turning for about 13 years now, and I've gone a little bit overboard. I'm the president of the North Carolina Wood Turners Association, but that all goes to my purpose, and my purpose is I live to develop people. And so everything I do, whether it's coaching or whether it's teaching classes or whether it's standing at the lathe or giving demonstrations with the lathe, it's all about helping people get better tomorrow than they were today. And I don't want to say it's just strictly altruistic. It's I get a kick out of that because especially for me, whenever I'm teaching, I'm also learning. I'm also sharpening my skills, and I can't give what I don't have. So I want to make sure that I can be the best person or the best wood turner or the best father or the best whatever that I can, so that people can take it and pay it forward.
Yeah, I like that. So when you actually put all of this into your practice, are you working with big companies? Are you working with individuals? Like, how are you getting your word out there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for most of my practice, I don't like to work with big publicly held companies. That's just not my space. My space is family-run companies, and I've had a great opportunity to work in the logistics business, which is warehousing, trucking, that kind of stuff. It's all under the heading of logistics, and most of them are family-owned companies. And I've worked with a couple hundred family-owned companies over the years. It's just there's a whole different vibe with family-held companies, and I'm usually working with the owner or the owner's people, or maybe the owner's kid, or something like that, and that you're not helping someone be a corporate drone. You're helping somebody do something that's really important, and that's support their family. And so, that's a little bit different when you're in business for yourself than it would be if you're working for a big corporation. There's a bunch of different drives. So that's been the bulk of my practice for the years. And I also worked with a construction company, a design build construction company, and they're an ESOP company. And so many of the same things that apply to small family-owned companies are the ones that apply to the ESOP company as well.
Hey, Tanksters, thank you for listening in again on another show. This is episode 11, season 2. And, just a little reminder, we love doing this show, but we love getting paid too. So, just a reminder, subscribe to the show. Well, actually, you can't subscribe to the show. I just found that out. I forgot that I mentioned that last time. But, follow us, share us, like us, get people to, log in during the live shows and comment and be a part of it. The hearts really, really help us out a lot. And, we're looking to do this for a long time, hoping that, you enjoy it as much as we enjoy doing it. And we really appreciate those that are already, supporting and are on Patreon. And if you go to patreon.com/TangoTalk66, you can become a sponsor of the show too. And we have giveaway gifts at each level, some really nice ones, in fact. There's other ways to donate too. You go to the website and you can do a buy me a coffee. We would appreciate that too. But we love you guys, and thank you for being here and being a part of the show. And speaking of the show, let's get back to it.
Yeah, and that's really good. And I think that's probably where the work that you do is needed with the small family companies, because some of these big corporate companies have a lot of their plans already thought out, where some of the smaller businesses may need you to step in and help them with whatever it may be.
There's a whole different vibe with when it's your own company, and especially some of these multi-generational companies, these companies that it's into the second or third or fourth, or even I've worked with one company that's in the 5th generation, and there's just this feeling of destiny. Now, I've seen companies that work as an asset. They can sell, and they know at some point they're going to sell. But a lot of the companies I work with are legacy companies. So, it's the person who owns it at that particular time being a steward to pass it on to the next generation. Wow. Isn't that kind of cool? I mean, that's a whole different thing, and big corporations buy and sell all the time. Right. And really, who cares?
Right. Well, a smaller company like the family run businesses, it's a heartfelt, because it's like you said, it's the legacy of the business, like it's it's generational. The family hopes that it gets to that point, So you really need, to feel all of the things and are able to, have a healthy balance, I think, with the business and, your sense of self, with all of that and your place within that business to continue to be successful, because not all small businesses are successful. They come and go. But the ones that have the heart behind them are the ones that make it.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing too is that so many times the owner of the company or the current owner, the generation that's running it, they get their identity so closely wound up with the business that it is almost impossible to step away from. Mm-hmm. And, if you want to really have a good functioning business, there's a time when you've got to step away from your business. I mean, there's a time when you can't be the hard charger. You can't be the striver. You can't be the one that's running and gunning and do the deals. I mean, there's a time when you get tired. And I know a lot of guys that are in their late 60s, maybe in their 70s, in a couple of cases in their 80s that are running businesses. And maybe they have another generation to hand off to. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just haven't gotten around to selling a business. But most of the time, it's that they have absolutely no clue what they're going to do after the business sells, or if they decide to retire or step back from the business. And wow, is that just a horrible thing? The thing that you have done. Yeah. And you can't go home and play golf all the time.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Especially if you live in upstate New York, you definitely can't go, play golf every day. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to do what you do, which means you're going to hold on to the company a lot longer than you probably should.
What was I going to say here? I'm sorry. I'm just like reading your little.
Well, we've kind of gone far afield from where we started, haven't we?
Yes, we sure have.
Yeah. Well, ask me anything.
Yeah. So, well, I'm really interested to hear about your book. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's even worse.
Oh gosh.
Yes. So I have the book that came out in October, which is Small Decisions, Big Shifts. I have a book that just came out this week too.
Oh.
And yes, and it's called Every Dog Has Its Day. And off the air, if you want to send me your address, I'll go ahead and send you one of the books. But Every Dog Has Its Day is the subtitle is Reflections on Life, Love, and the Lathe. And so, it's just a bunch of observations that I've made over my life. There's a story in there that I love to tell. And I don't know if your listeners would enjoy this as much, but, my mother-in-law died 12 days shy of her 98th birthday. And she died in my easy chair in my wife's arms. It was an honor to be there. It wasn't horrible. It was calming. And the one thing that I write about it is that she taught me a lot about how to age gracefully. Because God, you go 12 days shy of 98. I mean, goodness, she lived a long life. She lived with us for a lot of that time. She lived on and off with us for years. But in death, she taught me how to die gracefully as well.
Yes.
And I thought that was so cool. It was just I can't call it a neat moment, but it was just, it was almost a religious experience to be there. Mm-hmm. And so, I write about that in Every Dog. Obviously, we all have pets. I don't know if you have a pet, but I've had. Yeah. What kind of pet you have?
I have 2 dogs. I have a boxer and a pug.
You have a boxer?
I do.
Oh, God, the eternal 3-year-olds.
You got it. And he is just a year old, and he is definitely a handful.
Oh, and he's wide open, isn't he?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, and is that the pug that I see on your logo?
Yes, that's Capone. Yep.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And so how old is Capone?
Capone is 7,
okay.
and Bugs is just a year.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my daughter had a pug, and we had boxers that we just absolutely dearly loved. We had 2 boxers back to back, and we really loved them. So we love our pets, and being around pets, it teaches you a lot, and they teach you a lot in life, and they teach you a lot in death as well. And so I write about that. I've got a few other little things that I've written about, but Every Dog Has His Day is a fun book to. It was fun for me to write. Small Decisions, Big Shifts is the book that I had to write because I needed to get my coaching philosophy out. And it was kind of like, I had it in me, and it was kind of like at the end of the pipe, and it just had to burst out of there, and then once it is, it's like the pipeline opened, and I was allowed to write Every Dog Has a Day. So I'm pretty proud of that. And it just went live this week.
That's great. Well, congratulations to you on that.
Thanks. So when's your book coming out?
I think I probably got a few more steps to go before a book of mine ever comes out.
Well, Confessions of a Podcaster, right?
Oh, hey, maybe sooner rather than later.
Yeah, a podcasting tell-all, right?
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm just doing my thing and enjoying myself. And I've got another book that's coming out in October called Handoffs. It speaks about family business, and I'm working on one for 27, which is called right now. It's tentatively called Dancing in the Eye. So, are you a music fan?
I certainly am.
Yeah. So, are you a fan of Brandi Carlile's?
I am.
Okay. So she wrote a song. I think it was in 2012 called "The Eye." And it's made for 3-part harmony, and she and 2 other guys sang it, and it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful a cappella piece. But she says in it, "You can dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye." And that just spoke to me for some reason. And so I've created it's not a fictional, it's an actual lighthouse. It's the Marshall Point Lighthouse in Maine. And I've populated it with some interesting people. And so I won't give away the book, but, I'm having fun with that because I've gone from writing completely kind of a business book to reflection book to more of a parable book, and now I'm delving into fiction, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun.
Great.
Yeah. Can't turn the spigot off.
Well, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah. So what should I be asking you?
I don't know. What do you think you should be asking me?
Okay. So what do you do for a day job?
So I work for our local health department.
Okay. And how did you get into podcasting?
So Tango is a really great friend of mine. He's one of my besties. And we started talking about it, and we kind of went by the wayside. And then we talked about it again. We probably talked about it a million times before it actually happened. And then one day we said, okay, we're just going to do it. And that's exactly what we did. We just kind of did it, because we were trying to figure out, we were so set on trying to figure out what our subject was going to be, like our subject matter. But we were so interested, like we have such a wide variety of interests. We couldn't just pin one down. So we were like, what if it is just like a life podcast? Like we start talking to people about just in general, life, just everyday stuff, our dogs, our, whatever, work. We've done a couple of podcasts on, holiday things, things that have come up different, Memorial Day, and we try to focus, on a lot of different things. So most of the time it's just me and Tango being me and Tango,
Okay.
We're just normal everyday people. And we were just like, well, maybe our listeners are going to want to hear that. Maybe they're not going to want to hear that. But, we're going to enjoy our time together, and we're going to put it out there. And
what do you hope to get done with it? What's your aspiration for the podcast?
Well, I really hope that our listeners will get more listeners. In 1 year, we've managed to get 1,500 listeners. So
oh, wow.
That's 1 year, with us really not even knowing. And, just like tonight with you having little issues and, with our tech, our technical stuff and our, just all kinds of things. Like, we keep that stuff in our podcast too. And a lot of times we're like, they're not always mistakes, but if somebody else is out there maybe listening and they want to start a podcast, they can see that, okay, well, we're just being real here. We don't know. Yeah. We've got you muted. We've got the wrong music on. Who knows? Maybe the music is on over the top of you talking, or whatever the case may be. But essentially we're just learning day by day with everything we do. So we definitely, if you listen to our podcast, last year in the beginning, the very first one, it was just us talking, and then you hear all of the things, like you hear the heater turning on, and, you hear us moving chairs, and you hear us, just laughing and drinking and doing all kinds of things, So, but our end goal is really, I guess our end goal, my end goal is, continuing to have a great time with my friend and make our listeners just smile and have a good time like we're having a good time.
And I saw that you're in New York, upstate New York?
Yes, we're in upstate New York. We're just outside of Cooperstown. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with, Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes, know exactly where it is. And
are you a baseball fan?
I am, and I've spent way too much time. I know this isn't quite close to there, but I've spent way too much time in Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh, Buffalo gets a ton of snow in upstate New York. That's why you were commenting on that, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Upstate New York is like.
Well, one of my clients is in Buffalo, and actually had the chance last year to go to Buffalo Bills game in Highmark, and
wow.
it was a great experience.
Hey, thanks. There's one last butt in before we end the show here with Chip, and I just want to say, even though I couldn't be there, it was a pleasure listening to the conversation, and we certainly appreciated Chip's patience while we got the show going. We are still working out some bugs even after a year, but we're getting there. Promise. I just want to mention that you can go to hmprintdesign.com and order Tankster merchandise there. We just got some hoodies in, some T-shirts. We're going to be getting some hats in soon. We've got coasters and magnetic bottle opener. We got a ton of stuff up there. So, knock yourself out. We would appreciate it. But I wanted to just also mention that obviously we did not have my cocktail of the night because I was driving, and that would be highly inappropriate, at least in New York State. And we missed out on the Tango Tech this week too. I do apologize if any of you guys are like that episode. Hopefully next week we'll bring both of those back, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, and back to the end of the show.
I just enjoy the back and forth banter, not worried about what questions you're asking me or whatever. And so I appreciate that. And so, I think we got to everything that I wanted to talk about, but it's your show, it's your podcast. So, I want to make sure that you're happy as well.
Yes, I'm very happy. And I really am very sorry that we had the little bumps and bruises before we got to the show, but I'm really glad that we were able to have a chat tonight. It's been great talking to you. I definitely am looking forward to checking out your books.
Yeah, and seriously, if you go ahead and, well, they're on Amazon, but and also the audiobook. So there's an audiobook for Small Decisions, and that's on Spotify. It's on BarnesandNoble.com. It's on a number of different platforms, and then Every Dog Has Its Day. It's released on Amazon, the hardcover, the soft cover, and the Kindle, but it'll be on audiobook, and I'm waiting for the audiobook to drop. It'll probably drop in a week or two. And so, that's the cool way, but please send me your information, and I'll get one in the mail to you.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, Chip. So I guess we'll let you go tonight. And thanks again for being part of the show. And maybe when the new book comes out, we'll have you back to talk a little bit about it.
Well, I'd love to have another shot at actually getting on the air, starting at the right time.
Yeah. That sounds like a great plan. All
right. Hey, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, Chip. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.